Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Saturday edition of the We Want Houston podcast. I'm your host, Clayton Anderson, who also covers the Houston Texans for Torrid Times of the Fansided Network. Ladies and gentlemen, this individual I am very honored and privileged to have on the show with me today, all the way out in a special place in Las Vegas right now. A guy who's multi-talented, multifaceted, Miami's own former Louisville Sprinter, Columbia alumni, overall swell dude, ESPN Texans reporter, DJ Bien-Aime. DJ, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I'm blessed. As the older people say, it's blessed to be seen, so there you go, man. But yeah, man, so we got a lot to talk about. A lot of things just fascinating about you that I'd like to get into. So just real quick, the personal trainer side, the speed coach side of things. So shout out to Instagram real quick. Let's shout out what you've been doing, man. So just kind of been going through, seeing a lot of your work with the young guys. I've been seeing interactions, and I actually have a clip real quick. So I want you to kind of give us the play-by-play of what's going on here. So says down at the bottom, speed work with DJ Bien-Aime. So how's he getting stronger here? What are we working on?
So I would say on that first one, you're kind of working on like that first step, trying to be explosive. It's called like an Anderson squat where you're already in that loaded position and you're trying to push that force up because a lot of times when you're trying to start, right, you're trying to accelerate and that requires you to let's call it eccentric to utilize, to go through the concentric aspect of acceleration with your muscles, which is is eccentric and concentric. So to see, right now it's early. My brain not fully working, but um, either way though, like that pushing aspect when you're accelerating, because acceleration requires different movement and different angles than top end speed. Top end speed or eccentric, which is basically you're trying to cycle obviously as fast as you can, and then when your foot hit that ground, get the foot off the ground as fast as possible, as fast as that foot. I mean, and how well can that foot absorb the contact when it hits the ground? Like how well can it absorb that contact? The better it can absorb that contact at max speed, the easier it is for you to get off the ground, and then that improves your ground time contact, right? Because basically the difference between people being faster than others is really comes down to how fast does your foot get off the ground and how much force can you put into the ground when you're cycling through, right? So that's obviously the eccentric aspect when it comes to top end speed. Obviously, that's concentric, what I was doing in that earlier video, which is more about acceleration and things of that nature. Single leg deadlifts that you saw, that's more of a unilateral strength building aspect, because the stronger you make your legs individually, the better.
Okay.
That's more in that aspect. I think I would just say that's just that one can be eccentric and concentric, which is because I think concentric is when I think the muscles contract. Eccentric is when the muscles lengthen. So with a single leg deadlift, it's a combination of both. And then the kettlebell swing is more of a triple extension with the hips. What up, Donnie? So that's just more of a triple extension with the hips and whatnot. But that's really all that is. So yeah, I mean, been doing that for some time now. So yeah.
Okay, cool, man. I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, being a sprinter, being an athletic guy, right? It makes all the sense in the world that you're able to transition and pour into the young guys like that. I admire that, right? As a coach myself, who loves to teach and who loves to coach, as a form of relationship building. It's just another way to pour into these young men and young ladies
What type
too.
of coaching do you do?
So I've done football, I've done track, mainly gymnastics in a sense. So
Nice.
just a lot of different things like that. But for me, I just like I said, it's the building up the people, right? With the
Sure,
athletics kind
exactly.
of being, with the athletics being, of course, it's primary, but the athletics will take care of themselves if you reach the person. So I find it's a beautiful thing. So there's that, and it's what is funny also, man. I really feel like in a lot of ways that coaches oftentimes have a very fond place in the hearts and memories of a lot of kids, right? Like,
Sure.
of course, parents, of course, teachers, but it's just something about, hey, coach, or man, my coach from 8th grade, man, he pushed me and all this stuff and yada yada yada. Like you hear those stories all the time. So maybe that's you, probably you right now. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, man. But I do have a question for you though, since we're talking about that. So there's a YouTuber, I Show Speed, right? This is highly irrelevant, but it just kind of came to me. DJ, you're an athletic fellow. You're a pretty, jacked kind of guy.
I think
Do
I beat
you?
him.
You beat me to it. I was about to say if y'all line it up right now,
Yeah, I think I beat him.
1-on-1. You think?
Yep.
All right, cool. Hey, we're gonna clip this part. We're
Nah,
gonna clip this part.
only because I just, I see some of the numbers I put up in practice when I'm working with the
Mm-hmm.
kids, and
Mm-hmm.
like one of the kids, that I just, it's gonna be a video coming out soon. I'm working with a
Mm-hmm.
few kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I raced against all, I guess like three of them. One is committed to Michigan. One has offers from Miami and FSU. Another
Ooh.
one, he's a really good track kid. He had UTSA at one point. Um, Plays football, played cornerback, and we all raced, and like there was like a sizable gap. And then like the kid in the video that you were just watching, he posted up of Denim, and then Denim Steve. That's probably one of the kids I'm closest with. He ran like a 4.6, and when we race, I'm always like steps out in front of him. And he got a
Mm.
teammate named Aiden Seals. Now Aiden claims I can't. Aiden claims for whatever reason like he be smoking me in practice when we be working, but
Oh.
like that's cap. Like, and all the
Oh.
time we run, like I have on tennis shoes, he be having on cleats, and like
Mm.
this would be Aiden and this would be me. Now, mind you, right? Aiden ran a 4.3 at LSU camp.
Mm.
Like, that's on video. He ran 4.3 at LSU camp. And again, this is Aiden, and this be me in flats.
Mm.
And you know what I mean? So, and then my other kid, Aiden Sterling, um, you know, he got a lot of big time D1 offers, play receiver. Same thing, like he probably run like a 4.5, like low,
Mm.
or maybe like a 4.49. Like his
Mm.
acceleration is crazy. But again, when I'm running with him, I'm beating him. You feel me? Like I'm right there with him, and I got on flats, So,
Mm.
and then there was another video. It was me, Blake, and this kid named Rush Williams. Um,
Mm.
his dad played for the Jaguars. He was like a first round pick, like '04 or something like that. And
Mm. Mm.
we all raced again. You know what I'm saying? Me, Blake, him. Um, I think Blake had beat me by a little bit because I had on my flats. Cause Blake, I ain't gonna lie, Blake Jenkins has crazy horsepower. It's
Mm.
like
Mm.
I think Blake could probably go 4.3 at the combine in like 3 years. Like his
Mm.
horsepower is insane. He just has to straighten up his just get stronger calves / stronger
Mm.
ankles. Really just stronger ankles.
Right.
Because he generates so much force that sometimes his
Mm.
ankles can't like handle it at times. But once he
Mm.
fixes that, oh my god, he's gonna probably go like he gonna blow up the combine, you
Mm.
know. But you feel me? I'll be him. So like I think I'll be at show speed for sure.
Hey, listen, we're gonna clip that. Listen, I'm gonna take my guy DJ Bien-Aime. That's right. I got DJ Dustin Speed. That's right. Now just beating.
I don't know about Dustin though. I don't know about that because Dustin Speed is a
Look,
great athlete.
sure.
I gotta give respect to that. But nah, for sure being. I'm
Y'all
for
beat
sure
him?
being.
Oh yeah. We look. You always gotta have one instigator who makes it bigger than what it is. Like, yeah, that's right. My guy here does you. But yeah, man. But listen, all in good fun. But we do have some Texans to talk about, so we're gonna dive right into this. So real quick, man. Now we did have some unfortunate news this past week. So Janice McNair, co-founder of the Houston Texans with late husband Bob McNair, sadly she passed away at the age of 89 years old this last week. So DJ, I just want to ask you, man, about immediate reactions to this. And how do you think this is going to be like another piece of motivation to the team? Probably like, Bob's passing was in 2018.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say Janice was very instrumental with the team. Um, especially like, I was just Cal's mom, and like I remember when Cal got when he became the principal owner.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very emotional weekend for him, mainly because his mom had it, and like he felt like a honor taking that responsibility on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think I don't know actually about motivation per se, but I know like that's going to be something that they to an extent do play for. I don't know how much
Mm-hmm.
of a motivating factor it'll be, but like again, like she was a monumental figure for the organization.
No, absolutely. And again, I never met her directly, obviously, but talking to people like you, Jonathan Alexander, having read and kind of studied a bit, no, she's a fascinating woman, very compassionate, sympathetic, very much involved in the community, won multiple awards. So she just acknowledgement from everybody. You saw the outpouring of support from around the NFL, from Roger Goodell to the Cowboys to the Colts, to a number of different teams. So, it's just great to have an owner like that to make such an impact. And you just wish you wish the best for the McNairs, for the team. I have seen the updated graphic card of the Texans social media handle. So like the black JSM I want to say. So that's probably going to be a decal this year. You probably bet on it. But no, transitioning from there though, man, we got 3 days until training camp, right? Like all these things are happening, reports going out, articles, opinion pieces, but we finally got some real football coming up, man. So how do you feel with 3 days left?
Uh, oh man, you know, when I was a young reporter, I used to love training camp. Um, so I'm not. I mean, I'm a little bit older, more seasoned. I'm not as excited for training camp anymore.
Mm, okay.
But I think it's because this is my first training camp where like there's like really no. Well, obviously Texas first year.
Hmm.
There's some storyline, but it wasn't much. But this is my first year in a while where it's not really like there's no like big training camp story that like you
Hmm.
want to see in training camp. Like CJ first year, and Will, that's obviously speaks for itself. DeMeco first year speaks for itself, right? The next year, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Daniel Hunter, Aziz, like, all right, cool. Like, like that team was, obviously was very, very interesting. The year after that, still some
Mm,
similar things, right? Um, Still some similar things, right? In that aspect where we want to see Nick Kelly, the new Nick Kelly offense. How does that elevate CJ, right? Now, this one, obviously, the main storyline is like, how does the offense look in year two? But you really can't answer any of
mm,
those questions
mm,
for real now until the games are played at this point,
mm.
So that's kind of where I'm at, right? Because the biggest and the only storyline that anybody really cares about is like CJ, right?
Yeah.
CJ, how does CJ look going in year four? And we're not going to really be able to answer that until his games get playing. Because even if he's hooping in training camp, people going to want to still see the game. Even though if he's hooping like
Mm,
crazy in training camp, then
yeah.
it's a great sign because the defense is really good. But yeah, so um, I would say going to training camp, I feel a little indifferent.
Mm, okay. A bit indifferent. All right, maybe that makes sense. I mean, because I agree. This was not a like a flash in the pan, if you will, kind of off season. This was very much a meat and potatoes kind of off season. Uh,
Yeah.
very, very kind of boring in the sense where they went
Mhm.
trenches. They got a bunch of rookies. Like they did a bunch of things that a functioning organization should do to fortify the back end of a lot of positions, right? So on one hand, while it's lacking in like the headline appeal,
Mhm.
it's abundant in like the the football side of things where it's like okay, like you're really going to see a lot of guys, a lot of cream rides at the top. You got the Caden McDonald's, you got the Kalen Rutledges, you got the position battle. So a lot of like traditional problems that you're going to have, and like you said, of course, the biggest thing is going to be CJ Stroud and whether or not he is going to resurface as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So I guess as kind of the just kind of skip the line a bit on this question, so by that note, with the storylines that we've listed out here, would you say that preseason now is kind of mandatory for a lot of these guys? Like because we're probably not going to get a lot of answers early. Um, like would you want to see guys like play one, two, or maybe even all three preseason games to kind of iron out more things?
Not really.
Mm,
Caprice is so watered down now. Like people thought, like I remember off of last preseason, people thought, man, like the offense is gonna be so this is that, blah blah, off of some drive. Because like all preseason is like spot stick concepts, curl
mm,
flat concepts,
right.
uh, flood concepts, half
Mm,
field reads, very general on the back end. What you
right.
see is usually what you get. Cover three,
Mm,
cover four, man, play action on the off back
mm,
to the offensive side. So like there's nothing really you can gather from it, you know. But people gonna try to hype it up. Like that's what
yeah.
everybody always does. People try to hype it up.
Mm,
Cause I remember like vividly, right, the like this last preseason where people try to hype up the offense and CJ's first offseason or training in preseason where like he was kinda he really had like two good drives, like three good drives. And obviously we saw the difference between what that looked like and what last year looked like. So like I don't really take too much stock into preseason. Because it doesn't really tell you enough.
sure, that makes sense. So then you would make the case that because some people say it like this, the first 3 to 4 weeks of the regular season is kind of like an extended preseason, so to speak, where it's live bullets now. Like you're working on stuff, and the questions you couldn't have answered against your own defense, or even enjoying practices, or even in preseason, you're going to get some of those answers in the first quarter. And I guess another way to say that
Sure, for
is,
sure, for sure.
yeah, some people would be like, "Oh my gosh, they're 2-2," or the struggles in the first part of the season. But if it's an extended preseason, that means okay. I'm not saying you're willing to throw away those games, but because you're really coming right out of out of the gate in preseason, like you're really still working on some things. So I guess what I'm
Yeah,
saying is like adjusting your expectations as a fan to where yes, every game matters. I would love to go 17-0. I would love to put up 50 in each game to start off the season. But realistically, it just doesn't work that way. And 9 times out of 10, if we're talking struggles to what specific side of the ball, most likely is going to be on the offensive side of the ball to start off the season. So anyway, it's a bunch of things you can say about it, but no, you're right. I mean, like I said, it's not hardcore, right? You have some teams who probably have some storylines they want to keep up. Like I know the Ravens had their whole record, I guess they had of
yeah,
a streak of preseason games that became a thing. I'm fine with that. Like that's a cool niche little token thing to do. But if you really don't have a stake in preseason, it's about being healthy, make it to the regular season, like try to do some things, but I would say, if anything, like, yeah, I would like to see like a lot of the depth guys try to make their last little claim to a spot. That's kind of what I'm looking for, more or less, in the preseason. So, but that's fine. So transition from preseason. So let's talk actual roster stuff. So, Jeremy Fowler, he put out his list according to execs and coaches and scouts of positional rankings throughout the NFL, and the Houston Texans ended up as, what is this, one, two, three, so fourth most with teams with top 10 players with in the NFL. So you got the Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, and there we go right there. And I got the list right here. So of course Stingley was ranked the second best corner. Will Anderson ranked the third best D end, which I would argue should be number two. Daniil ranked sixth, so that's awesome. You got two top 10 edge rushers. We knew that, but it's just cool to see the numbers back that up. Aziz, sixth best linebacker. Nico Collins, eighth best wide receiver, and then Kalen Bullock, top 10 debut right there. And then, of
mhm.
course, you got the honorable mentions. You got Jalen Petrie as an honorable mention in the safeties department, even though he's one of the best nickels in football, if not the best, depending on what you need. You have Kamari Lassiter, who is known as the best number two corner in the NFL, right? So that is very interesting. And then, of course, you have other players who did not make the honorable mentions, but got some votes. Like CJ got some votes at quarterback. Yeah, Dalton Schultz got some votes at tight end. And, but frankly, that kind of just backs up what we already know, which is the strength of this team, the superpower is the defense. You have Nico Collins, who's your perennial Pro Bowler, and then we have these question marks everywhere else on the offense. We knew that. But DJ, what are your thoughts on that, man? How much, really, I would say this. Is this a testament to the general managing of Nick Caserio for those who are not really a fan of his moves and kind of how he's managed the team so far?
Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, gotta give him credit. Gotta give credit to DeMeco and his staff for developing them too, but also like them both being on the same page of like this type of guy we want, like from a profile standpoint. And then this is the type of player they bring in because they kind of give them like the profile of what type of players they want, and then they pair it up with, and they go and find that particular type of player. Because sometimes teams aren't on this, like GMs and coaching staff aren't necessarily on the same page. Um, so the fact that they're able to consistently do that, you gotta give them credit. Now, granted, obviously they win, they draft, they sign Aziz and they sign Daniil, but again, regardless, they were able to develop and find roles for Petrie. Obviously,
Mhm.
they the staff together with Nick and them got Kamari right. Obviously, Sting was here before DeMeco, but building a scheme and whatnot that fits Stingley's skill set. So I think
Mhm.
overall, he's done a great job in that aspect. I have to give credit where credit's due. So yeah, I mean, they're there's a reason why they are a Super Bowl contender, or
Mhm.
he's an AFC Championship contender. It's because of that roster. That's why like this season really just comes down to like how good is seven going to be? How good is the O line going to be? Like that's those are two questions. If those two spots are good enough,
Mhm.
it should be able to at least get to the AFC Championship game.
Sure. Hey, look, man, I agree. Listen, it's funny because hearing you say that, that's what I would say is that AFC Championship for me should be the floor, right? Super Bowl trip is very realistic based on this defense. We know that ad nauseum. That's all you hear. But I mean, yes, man, that's the biggest question. Now, Jonathan Alexander, who was on the show, previous episode or so, he said he's the guy who let's calm it down. Let's calm down expectations, right? He's the guy who's like, nah, I don't know, man. Y'all look more of a 9-8, a 10 and something team.
9-8.
Well, no, I'm not saying no. He didn't say that. I'm just saying he said he's the friend in the group that you would say conference championship as the 4, which I would agree, right? But he'd be more like, oh, let's settle it down. We don't know, man. It's things can go wrong. We don't know. I don't know. Like, and I can see
He tends to be more level headed for sure.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm just saying that's more of his thing. Me, I would agree. I think if the offense can give you at least, you ain't got to be top 5, just top 10, even heck top 12, right? Like I think
Top
you
12 is
should
tricky.
easily.
Top 12 is tricky. Top 12 is tricky.
Really?
Top 12.
You think so?
Yeah, because top 12 means above average.
Yeah,
And that might not be enough. Top 10, all right, cool. Because if you're 12, right, the midway point is obviously 16.
16, right.
So, like, if you're a few spots above that, then you're just really above average, right? Top 10 means you're good, right?
Right.
Top 5, obviously, that goes without explaining. You feel me? So, yeah. So that's kind of that. But I mean, if I don't know if they could be top 5, man, because like you need for you to be a top 5 offense, you need like multiple premier players across the board on a unit.
Yes.
I don't actually know if they have that. Obviously, I think CJ can be a premier player. I think I want to see David Montgomery in a fully premier role. He hasn't had this in Chicago. Obviously, I think Nico is a premier player. But everybody else, like, they kind of have to like show that aspect. So, but regardless of, they like top 10, like, I think, yeah, if they top 5, they might go 15-2, 16-1, top 5. Like, to be honest.
Listen, they top 5, yeah, 15-2. Let's hang the banner. I'm right there with you.
If they're top 5 offense, they're gonna get to the Super Bowl unless they like choke in the divisional round at home.
Sure. Well, listen, what helps the Texans is that, again, they have 2 of the 3 most important things that you need to be successful. They play defense, and they have 1 of the 3, but the 2 being like, can they run the football, right? I think that's my biggest focus within the offense, because passing the ball is tricky because errors happen, mistakes happen. It's really not the most sustainable way to play football, right? Unless you're passing for 80% completion percentage and 400 yards a game type stuff, then yeah, sure, bombs away. But 9 times out of 10, real football would tell you, like, no, you need to be able to run the football. Like, all the best teams,
especially in December and January and February, because it's frigid.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people that say just throw it all day, they never had to catch a football when it was cold.
Exactly. So yeah, and if you look at the stats, look at the numbers, look at history itself, all the best teams in the NFL, especially as of late, have been running football teams. The Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles literally ran their way to a Super Bowl, and who just passed the ball just enough, right? Like running the football works. So that's if the Texans, I think specifically for me, if the Texans can put up let's say like a top 12, top 10-ish running season, like, you don't have to be the Ravens, but I mean, just competent, sustainable football. Like, for example, I put up a post some days ago where I talked about the difference between the Texans rushing attack from last year to the Bills was a difference of like 50.7 yards per game. Like half of a football field's worth of production separated, the Texans at 22nd to number 1. Like, imagine what the Texans could be as an offense, right, with just 20 more yards per game, 30 more yards per game. So stuff like that matters. So anything more that this offense can produce, absolutely. But with that being said, let's shift over to a topic that we've stated ad nauseum. You mentioned him again, C.J. Stroud. 7, Coleridge Bernard, as we also call him, right? So to bridge the gap from the top 10 positional rankings to like the NFL top 100, right? There's been a big topic of discussion every single day with each passing pick that you don't see C.J. Stroud. It's been a thing, right? And especially with Trevor Lawrence making the list yesterday. And in the video, I didn't catch this when the first debut, but I had to go back to it. When you have guys like Will Anderson in the video and C.J. Stroud himself in the video complimenting Trevor Lawrence, It just ain't, just ain't the best look. So, I put up this post. Now, again, I'm playing into it, right? But I was going to ask you, like, how much do you really care about this kind of thing? So, I mean, looking at it, right? Like in the top 100, we've seen Bryce Young at the list, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson, and Trevor Lawrence. So, DJ, my question to you specifically is this: I mean, does any of this really matter, right? Like, because this is a player-driven list, and it's really, it's not the Super Bowl, right? It's not nothing like that, but does it mean anything to you that CJ's contemporary? Now, this is assuming he doesn't make the list, right? But does it mean anything to you right now that we're at this place with CJ Stroud where literally it feels like the equity that this man built up in his rookie season is completely evaporated. The stock in CJ Stroud is as low as it's ever been. I mean, does any of this matter to you, or are you like Big Sarge, who said that he wants to see this kind of thing? He wants CJ to miss out on the top 100. He wants this kind of narrative around CJ so that he can be ticked off heading into next season, because we've never seen CJ truly like quote unquote ticked off or angry on the football field. So what are your thoughts on that?
Uh, nuanced. First, let's talk about the list.
Mm,
So some people are gonna see the list and think, okay, this is because it's a playoff run. No, the
mhm,
voting is done before the playoffs, right? And it's
okay,
done
that's
like
good clarity.
it's done like during November, late December, early December, maybe throughout that
Oh,
month. That's
that's
one.
early. That's
Yeah,
early.
yeah, yeah. So it's not necessarily two. It's a piece of paper with 20 spots, right? So like, it's more like they're just trying to accumulate in that aspect of all right, how many names pop up on this list?
Mm,
Three, some players don't take it serious. Slash, some players don't really care to really do it. And again, like you have 20 spots to put a name
yeah.
down. So like hypothetically, like if let's say for example, the Panthers, the whole Panthers team decided in that moment, we're gonna take this serious.
Mm, right.
Bryce Young, Bryce Young, Bryce Young, Bryce Young, Bryce Young, whatever, whatever.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that could, you know what I'm saying,
That's
like lead
funny.
to that, or like if a few people in his division put his name down, whatever, and it
Hmm.
ain't go across the board, right? Like whatever,
Hmm.
any names you see there, that can happen,
Hmm.
right? So I would say that they don't necessarily take it as serious. Not everybody's voting for the most part, right? I think
Hmm.
years prior,
No.
players did for sure. But I think
Hmm.
now, like it's not as taking it serious. Three, I think that um, I don't really care if whether he makes it or doesn't make it. Like like Bryce Young's on it. Like Bryce Young's not better than him. Um, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I got you. I
and
got you.
like Lamar was 60. Like forget CJ. Like Lamar was
69.
69. Like come on now. Like
69.
but like again, like if people not putting his name down, like that's might be just or people just forget to do it. Like So I would say, yeah, I don't really worry about it too much. And then on top of that, to put a caveat on top of all of it,
Yeah.
like, me and Sorry, we disagree on a lot of stuff. So, I don't really think that if that list is what motivates you, then you're not the guy. Honestly, like,
Mm,
if like, you're
mm,
not making that list motivates you, then you're not the guy. Now, if
mm.
you're looking for a slight little edge, like Mahomes being fourth on his list on the list one time, and using that slight little edge, all right, cool, that's different. But
Yeah.
like, if this was gonna make you play angry or whatever, and on top of that, like, you can't play football angry at quarterback. Like that's from a psychological standpoint. I was actually reading a book called it's called just Stolen Focus, right? And it mentioned how one aspect they mentioned was that how Silicon Valley, our algorithm, it loves to feed us negativity because we're more
Sure.
likely to react to that, and
Mm,
we're more likely to be angry when we look at stuff like that and
mm,
react angrily and whatnot.
mm,
And when you're angry, you're most likely going to have less ability to critically think. Your depth of perception is going to be less.
mm,
There's just overall like your critical thinking skills plummet, which is why when you see people commit crazy acts, usually because they're angry, right?
yeah, you're right.
Whether it's
You're right.
domestic violence, whether it's homicide, whether it's rock, whatever it is, because they're angry, right? Like Terry Arnold, right? Him rob, whatever he was trying to do,
Mhm.
whatever, you know,
Yeah,
whatever, right?
sure,
Allegedly, I call that,
sure. Right,
right? He was
allegedly,
angry
allegedly.
about he felt like he got robbed, and so he did something silly. So like again, like the whole idea of like playing angry. So we got quarterback when it's a thinking man's position. That is not like that's a that's a silly cliche, and knowing CJ wouldn't even like give that any like thought, like, oh man, I'm gonna play angry now because blah 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 blah, yeah, like nah,
No, I agree. Hey, drop the mic. Drop the mic. Listen, I heard all the intelligent, articulate things you said, but my
yeah,
focus, my focus was on your comment, my drop the mic moment, which is going to be a clip. If you need that to play well, you're not the guy. Like that's it right there. That's drop. Just stop it right there. Stop the tape. Stop the count. Get in there, ref. But no, man. So yeah, man. But no, man. So look, a lot of good information. I love learning these things from you. Thank you for taking us behind the scenes on all these things. Because again, in our social media discourse, in our social media world, there's a lot of people who love to speak and armchair quarterback or narrate and really don't know anything. So again,
right.
thank you for helping us understand the voting process and kind of the mind of the players and how systemically a lot of these things work. So kind of to wrap up
And,
things
and,
a
and
bit.
to follow up on that, some like honestly speaking, the last point I make on that, I remember I won't say who the player was a few years back. This was
Sure.
2023, I think.
Mhm.
Some player was filling it out or whatnot, and while they filling out the list, dude said, "Man, I'm gonna just put my dog's name on this." And then someone asked, "Are you gonna put Puka Nakua?" He said, and I quote, "Who is that?" And that was Puka's rookie year when Puka had an argument to be rookie of the year. Well, yeah, I think Puka's crazy year was 2023, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
People putting their dog's name right. Yeah, you know what? That's very convicting. So yeah, we got to get better, man. Like we have to get better with, and I get it because being in the content creator space, I understand we got to narrate, we have to grab things and make articles and make videos and stuff like that. But at some point, journalistic integrity and just like I said, critical thinking has to matter to filter out what are stories and what really don't advance the plot at all. So that's funny though. But no man, so to kind of wrap up here, and again, thank you for your time here. So I'm just gonna ask you another rookie question, really kind of twofold. I need you to pick for me one rookie breakout candidate, right? So besides Keenan Rutledge and Caleb McDonald, so don't touch them. One rookie breakout candidate, and then one rookie that you would tell us right now to not really expect much from in year one. I know that's kind of broad, but if you could pick any one specific, because I have one. Okay, so how about this? I'll give you my answer for the second one. You can answer the first. So give me your breakout candidate amongst rookies, besides Caden and besides Keelan.
Candidly, none because they're not gonna play like that. Outside of Kalen, I mean, the tight end out of Michigan, he might get some burn, but breakout, I just don't see it because like there's not that many spots for them to get on the field at. So right, like you can talk about the linebacker from Clemson, right? He has to take reps from so Henry or Aziz has to get hurt, and then
Sure,
also so does Petrie. Like, and then because if they go 4-3, that means they're taking Petrie off the field.
sure, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like outside of those two got the first two picks,
Mm,
I just don't see it. That's just me being honest, mainly because there's not that many spots for them to play.
mm.
Like that's just being real. Like there's not many spots for them to play. So
I got you. I'm just shocked because we have to acknowledge the fan club, the LBFC. Come on,
nah,
bro.
he's not gonna play, like he probably the team, but he's not gonna play like that because like there's not that many spots. I understand the fan club and it's well deserved. It's well deserved.
I say, come on, man. Boston College all-time receptions leader. Come on, man. You gotta, like, come on, bro.
Sure, no, I got you.
Come on,
I
bro.
wish I could give I wish I could give a different answer, but
I got you. Listen, I'm pushing that narrative any chance I get. On top of that, I'm pushing Noah Whittington. I am. Yes, I don't care what people say. I am on that bandwagon until I'm proven wrong on that. I am pushing for Noah Whittington to make a statement. But so as far as like the rookie who I would then answer and say to not expect much from, you mentioned him surprisingly, Marlon Klein, tight end out of Michigan. So for me, a lot of people when I state this, they jump down my throat and say, you think the Texans just gonna waste a second rounder? I mean, he was drafted 59th overall and all this stuff. I hear you. I get it. but I'm looking at trajectories, I'm looking at trends, I'm looking at how the team has functioned in the past. Excuse me. And this team shows you that, like a lot of teams do, that they would give preference to maybe the veteran voice, the veteran on-field presence, because the vet oftentimes know where to be. They may not be the most physically imposing or like the best at the position, quote unquote, but at the time, like you can afford a veteran, right, who at least just knows infrastructurally how to operate as a pro and in this offense versus a rookie who's untapped, right? Who really doesn't know as much. Like case in point, Jalen O versus Christian Kirk last year, right? Like I was banging the table for Jalen O all year, right? I thought he shouldn't have been pigeonholed as just a punt return guy, even though he set the franchise's punt return record. So congrats for that. But I was pounding the table that hey, he should be your slot guy. He should be getting more run at the position. Why not? In favor of Christian Kirk, and that didn't happen. So that showed me. I got you. So that showed me kind of where the team's focus is. So now projecting that with Marlon Klein, I just think that with him, I know he's 6'6". I know long wingspan. I know he's 250. I get it, but I just think for me, I'm just not going to expect much from him. I think he's their long term developmental project there. I think when all breaks down, it's going to be Dalton Schultz. It's going to be Foster Moreau. I think it's going to be Brevin Jordan. And I think if Marlon Klein is going to get on the field at all, it's going to be a tight end four. Because Stover is going to be at fullback. But outside of that, that's kind of my spiel, and I'm willing to take the heat on that. I know it's coming. But DJ, to wrap up here, again, thank you so much for your time, man. So, what's your next project? Let the people know where to find you next, so that we can be on the lookout.
I got a big, training camp story I'm going to be working on throughout training camp. So, um, I won't tease it too much, but a very interesting story that I want to like really, really dive into. So I'm really
Mhm.
excited about that one.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, hey, I know you're already well known, but hey, I'm gonna just go ahead and put this up here anyway. Shout out my guy DJ Bien-Aime. Go follow him on Instagram, man. He got some good information. Again, like I said, Miami's own, Columbia alum, Louisville sprinter, speed coach. If you want to bone up on your education there, ESPN Texans reporter. And again, my name is Clayton Anderson with the Tour Times of the Fansided Network covering the Houston Texans. Again, thank you, DJ, for your time. Thank you so much, sir. And let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Just let me know when I'll be back.
All right, man. Hey, go Texans, and see you guys at training camp.